Welcome back, guys. We're picking up where we left off on the timber frame cabin. We've got 2 floor joists to finish up, and I'll go to work on those right away, and then we'll jump over to the corner posts and get started on those. So stay tuned, and I'll bring you along for the progress, how it goes. Neglected to mention when determining how to do your layout for floor joists or any type of thing that's going to bear any weight is you want to be sure and determine what the crown is. What the crown is oftentimes boards or timbers will have a slight arch in them, and you can tell that very easily by just sighting down it. You sight down one of the corners and you can see the crown in it. You always want to have the crown up. Once you determine which side the crown is, always take your pencil and put an arrow pointing up. That way it will help you not to forget which way to go. The reason for that, as the load over time pushes down, that will settle down and actually settle in and go flat. Or if you start the other way around and the crown is down and you start with the belly, it's only going to get worse. These particular timbers don't have any crown in them, so I neglected to mention that last time, but oftentimes that's the case. You'll find it. The section you're going to find, it's going to be pretty common in timbers, is called wane. And that you can see right here where it was cut to the outside. We actually have little pieces of bark right there. That's not going to hurt anything, but you don't necessarily want that showing on your interior walls. So these floor joists, just for example, we'll just be sure that, providing that we don't have a crown issue that conflicts with this decision, but as long as the crown is up or the right way, or there isn't any crown, then we'll go ahead and just put these down where they won't see. If this was going to be a corner post or exposed on the inside of the beam, we would simply turn it to an inside corner where it was going to be covered up with siding. But that's called wane. Another imperfection you're going to find with timbers is called shake. And that's what you got right here, where you've got a split cracked end. You can see right here. Obviously, this is not anything you would want to use for anything more than firewood. So be sure and follow that back and cut that clean off. You don't want any type of shake in any of your structural members. Alright, here we are for a recap. Where we left off, we had 5 of the 7 joists in place. So I've just trimmed and squared joist number 6, and I'll trim a pair of the pockets out to receive that right now, and we'll set that, and we'll get number 7 in, and that'll be it for the floor joists. Perfect. Check the other side. Other side looks good. Nice and tight. Let's move on to number 7. An instance where I'm going to have to deviate from the plans a little bit. And the reason is the plans were poorly done, and I was ignorant of what I was doing when I first started laying all this out. Now I've got a little better education, and what I should have done is altered this, but it's too late now. So what the problem is that these sill boards right here, the long 16 footers, there's nothing to keep them from bowing out like this. And I've noticed as this one is dry, you know, obviously I'm working with wet timber here, so it's going to bow and twist. It's starting to bow out and to pull away from the joist. And there's nothing to keep that from going back and forth. As you can see from the plans here, what should have been done was, here we're looking at, this is the bottom. This is sill plates. Here's what we're working at right now. What should have been done is that the center joist right here should have been dovetailed. And what that means, hope you can see, like the upstairs profile right here, where it's got this little triangle deal in here, and what that does is it keeps this from bowing out. They should have designed, that should have been put in there, but I didn't know that at the time when I first started laying out, so it's too late now. So what I'm going to do is I've taken my my Polzol here, and I'll pull these together really tight. And I got the biggest lag bolts I could find, these great big 3/4 inchers. And what I'll do is, in the very middle floor joist, I'm going to put a big washer plate here and lag these in and pull these tight. This will not be exposed, you know, it'll never show because the siding will come down here. This is not correct for a timber frame, but I don't care. It won't. Nobody's going to see it, and it's going to make it a lot. It's going to keep these from bowing out, and it's just going to be a lot better. So I'm in the process of doing that now. And here are the plates. So what we'll do is we'll find center here. We'll draw around here, chisel that out so everything sits in there nice and flush, and then pre-drill this, and then suck this up real nice and tight. This paired out here, and nice fit for our washer. And we have to have a little extra thickness here to cover for our the head of our lag bolt, and that's going to suck in a little bit, but looks like we are just about right. So we'll go ahead, mark this circle, and drill our pilot hole. The lag bolt I'm going to be using for this is the biggest one I could find, and this would be a 3/4 inch diameter, 12 inches long. Typically, when I'm going to use these big lag bolts like this, you definitely want to drill a pilot hole, especially if you're going to go in the end grain, like into here. End grain actually does not hold very well, so the bigger the screw, the better. What I'll typically do is my pilot hole, I'm going to be drilling. I'm going to size it about a 1/4 inch smaller. So for example, this 3/4 inch lag, I'm going to pilot this with a 1/2 inch. And be sure that you mark the depth. So I can see right here the 12 inches stops pretty much at the twist of the bit, and then I'll stop there, clean it out, and then we'll run this lag in. It really helps to have someone watch you, if you can, to be sure that you're holding this, you're not too high, too low left and right, because a little bit of deviation or deflection right here at the end of 12 inches can come inches over here, so be very careful with that. So now that since I'm working by myself and I don't have anyone to help me, one thing that you can do, it's not real precise, but it will help, is to have a small level, something like this combination square level. And what I'll do is I'll level it across the chuck, because it's just, I can tell left and right the deviation from sighting down the bit, but it's difficult for me to know up and down. So I'll just check this periodically to make sure that I'm drilling on a nice level plane. Alright, once we drill our pilot hole, there's one more thing we want to do. As you can see, the threads run almost the full length of this, and they're going to catch. What we don't want to do is we don't want to have the tightness right here. Our main concern is for these threads to grab on right here to this joist, not to be hooking into here. So we have a 3/4 inch shank right here. We'll take a 3/4 inch bit, or even a 1/16 larger than that is fine, and we'll pre-drill this right until we'll stop right when we come into contact. This will allow this to float on here. The washer itself is what's going to pull this. We're not relying upon any threads, and we don't want this to these threads to be hindering these from coming together. So we'll pre-drill this. I can measure this. I can see right here at the shank it stops, and I'll go in and stop before I hit the floor joist. We're ready to put our leg in. Now that we've got the shoulder, this oversized drill to accommodate the shoulder here in the sill board, one of the most important things you need to do when you're using these big lag bolts, or any lag bolts as far as that concerns or goes into wood, is to just get some regular bar soap and cover these threads here. Just really cake that in there. And if it's a little bit wet, it's even better. And that will really assist in getting that in there. So we'll set our washer. And you're not going to put this in by hand, so an impact wrench is going to be really nice for this. A little bit more. Good. For flush, that's going nowhere. That is a really good solid attachment point, and will take care of any problem that we might have had with spread on the sills. Well, that finishes up the foundation for the timber frame cabin. As you can see, got a nice, solid, tight frame here. Everything fits really good. I added a little extra, the bolts that you saw, and that worked out really nice. I was going to put several more of them in there until I priced them, and they're $10 a piece, so that changed my mind really quickly. So I think one would be sufficient. As tight as that went in there, I think that'll really hold. If need be, I can add some more later. So that's it, 7 joists. Here's the other one. Very clean, nice. That's the proper way to do it, that's for sure. Alright, well, thanks for watching again, and looks like we've got to put the decking on next, so either I'll do the decking or start working on the corner posts, but I'll bring you along. I appreciate you watching and all of the support. It really means a lot to me. Thanks a lot.
This is with the Wranglerstar. I just want to show you a Wago Army. It's like the training video that you've seen before. So here's the Army. You can twist it over there a little bit, Papa. Then there's this showing, there's this little station. You can get tools. There's this walker crystal. This tiny vehicle.